another episode of the Evan.
It's as usual good to come your way again with another episode, and as usual, we'll ask you to go and share the feed, go and like it, get family and friends to be ready to join us on this journey. Um, so hey, we'll give you 2 seconds. Go out there, share the feed. Let's get rolling. Let family and friends know we live. Um, Prissy, how is the weather at your end?
It's extremely hot,
Okay,
but
yeah,
of late it's been very hot, like
okay,
hotter than close to 100 Fahrenheit, right? So what's
yeah,
that degree Celsius? I'm not able to do that calculation.
okay, yeah. It's I don't know.
But I think today is a bit cloudy, though cloudy, still hot out there.
Okay, okay, that's good. So let let's get going. Okay, yeah. So Prissy, what are we talking about today? We all don't know, so just conjure something.
So for today's topic, you're going to be on the other side of our previous topic.
Okay,
So you remember you asking me about what was going on in the mind of a young girl
okay,
with
right,
respect to relationship marriage.
yeah.
So I guess today is your turn to do the talking. So we
Okay,
are going to ask about
yeah.
what was going on in your mind when you were growing up as a child, as a toddler, as a youth. You're still a youth here, so I shouldn't use you.
Maybe
As
not.
a young adult
Yeah, right,
and
right.
the adults. So what was the perspective you had, or what no, how did you learn about relationship in the first place? At what age did you realize that there was something like a relationship?
Um, okay, so to pinpoint that would be pretty difficult, right? But all I know is that as a as a grade two, I already thought I had a crush, right? And I don't know how that plays out, or what the kind of input that gets into a little kid's mind to be thinking that at that age. But it's again that kind of it means that kind of awareness comes at a very tender age, right? So yeah, so but that should be around 7 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know if I really understood what that meant, right? But I at that age that there was someone I was fond of, right? And I'm excited when we are in class, and maybe instead of there is no teacher there and we are chatting, asking questions, the person is answering questions, and all, and that got me excited, and so that was how that got started. Now, I think that just around that age as well, um, you have people in classes already assigning they are in the ministry of assigning partners to
It looks
people.
like some of the kids were troublesome from home already.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know, because I wasn't thinking in that manner, like
mm,
coming from my home. There was
right,
nothing, like never thought of assigning people to people. But then
yeah,
you have kids in the class who naturally had that tendencies to be talking about sad things.
yeah, and that's the that's the part we need to be a bit careful about, right? So you are trying to raise your kids in a certain way, right? You're trying to bring them up in a certain direction. But because they are not islands and they are not isolated, they get into their class, for example, and they have influences from all sorts of families. And remember, those families might not be having the same ideals, they might not be having the same philosophies or whatever they want to raise their kids with. In fact, there could be families that have no principles at all, right? It's just like wake up, get up, go to school, come back, eat, sleep, and all. And so what it does is that then it exposes you to all sorts of people, right? And I believe that kids learn so much from outside. And so if you don't take care, then you get a kid that is going in a certain direction, not because you want the kid to go in that direction, but because that's the kind of influence the kid is getting. Yeah. So I remember very well that somewhere in fifth grade, was that third grade or fifth grade? Um, a group of us came together. I think we were supposed to act some drama and everything, right? And the person who was supposed to be the director was already directing people to be kissing people. You get what I mean? Yeah. So it's and I would say that especially because we are in the information age, or I mean a place where you have so much information from the media and different places, then yeah, it becomes almost the norm. And I always say this, that I remember, maybe I've mentioned this already, but in some previous episode, but back in grade six, I mean, the good thing was that I was a prayerful person. I learned that from my mom because of a lot of struggles, right? And so, yeah, if you are struggling, you pray. So yeah, I think I picked that up, and so I remember, and I always say this. I remember exactly where I was kneeling in grade six and was praying, "Oh God, is this supposed to be my wife?" Grade six, right? And the funny part is that, and you know this story, so you were the prayer topic, right? I wanted to figure out, oh God, is this
You
is this
started
what
investing in your future long ago.
exactly? Yeah. So it it was difficult to really pinpoint where all those thoughts came from. I mean, grade six, from grade six to where you get married is so long a time. You
No,
get what I mean? Yeah.
I
So
know, I know where it's coming from.
okay,
You are
okay.
reincarnated.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, right. So, uh, yeah. So at that point, maybe I got too serious at a very tender age, right? So, grade six should be how many years? Maybe 11.
Yeah,
About
tell
11 years.
about
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So, about 11 years praying about my future, right, and all. And yeah. So, and of course, at that point, I would say that it was at we were not even teens yet, right? But at that point, there was a full blown awareness of a male and a female, and the fact that they come together in a relationship or they get married. Because I remember that in class we had some of these relationship topics, if you remember very well,
Mhm.
because you were sitting in the same class with me. Yeah. So we were, I think it's at that point that people start developing their whatever brains and all, in that regard, right? So if you remember critically, at that point, the pairing was really full blown, and some people actually even took it to a different level, right? It's the parent and all were full blown. So I would say that yeah, sometimes we downplay the amount of information kids have at that age, and we downplay what they know. We think. I mean, I know a lot of a lot of families where, like, if they are watching a movie and there is like a kissing scene, they'll say, "Hey, everyone, cover your eyes." Okay, so it gets quite funny to me, right? Because for them to even know that, yes, it is at this point we need to cover our eyes, it means that they're already aware. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
So it gets quite funny. So I really think that, and Prissy, you would attest to this, that you start speaking to your kids about certain things very early. If you remember, I think maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, maybe 2 years, about 2 years ago, yeah, we really had a talk with all our kids, and they were kids, right? But again, you would be surprised the things they know, the things their friends tell them, the things their friends are doing, and all, right? It was a very revealing discussion. So, yeah. Then, beyond that, my goal, one of my main goals in life was to, so it looked like at that point my my target was already cut out, right? And so I was pretty much interested in going for my target, which is Prissy, right? Yeah, and I know her head is swollen now, and so if you remember, by age, when we got into senior high school, right? Um, and my friends would attest to that. I mean, people were teasing that the teasing had transitioned into the senior high school, because I had mates from my junior high school who were with me, and so they brought up Prissy's name, and so everyone kept on teasing me. And so personally, the goal was sort of defined, right? And so one of the best times I would get very well dressed and all, and try to be my best self, is if we go in for like intercolleges competition, and we know that our sister school, which is Prissy School, would be there, right? And so, and during vacations as well, we'll stay in touch, trying to and I tried as much as possible to draw you into my space. So you remember we have this ministry that takes care of underprivileged children, and I got you drawn in there. That way you were very close. We had not even started going out, right? But then out of the chess game I was playing, it was a master stroke to get to get you across, and it was so I was thinking that at that age I was really determined, I was really focused. I knew this was what I wanted to go in for, right? But then again, there are a lot of thoughts that run through people's minds, right? I mean, as young people, oh, what if he says no? Or what if she says my head is too big? Or what if she says my ears are too, whatever, you know? So you think, okay, so before you go, check the mirror. Is everything okay? Okay. Cover every part that wouldn't be too ideal, right? And hey, go show up in your best, right? So I mean, she can't say anything otherwise, right? So I would say that before we actually got to the point where when we started going out, I mean, the whole goal was, yeah, hey, find nice ways to let her know that you are the best for her without going too direct, so that when you are bounced, you don't bounce too hard. Right. So I mean, I mean, so yeah, that it wasn't a so easy journey. Okay, it wasn't a so easy experience, because yeah, you think, oh, what if it goes south, or what if you hear no, or what if, I mean, all the what ifs, right? So and at that point in the teenage years, all you're trying to do is to be your best, is to make your object of interest be very proud of you, like see you and be. So I remember that back then in school, I had people who would really go out there, visit Prissy school, and tell Prissy of um, all my good works and everything, yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So basically, that was the mindset coming through those years.
Okay. And so, based off everything you've said, um, at what age do you advise um, young adults? They are not even adults then, because if
Yeah.
you are in the teenage years,
Hmm.
do you advise people to enter into relationship? Because I want to say something. Most of
Hmm.
the times, our parents restrict us from getting into relationship, and then it
Right.
gets to a point where now they are forcing you to bring a man home. Yes. So,
Yeah.
at what age do you think is ideal for somebody to enter a relationship?
Okay. So it would be pretty difficult pinning a number to it, right? But I think that it is more of when you've really found someone you think you are so convinced about. That's what I think. Funny enough, yesterday I was having a discussion with a friend of mine from Mexico, and he was saying that he never saw himself as someone who was going to get into a relationship. He never saw himself as someone who was going to get married. He said he saw himself um, as like a 45-year-old when he was a teenager, right? As a 45-year-old who would be having a luxury car and would be driving around and partying here and there, blah, blah, blah. So that was how he saw himself. But um, so I asked, okay, what happened? Then he said his whole perspective about relationships changed when he met his now wife. They got married, I think, last year. So it, you might have a lot of plans. You might have. I don't think it would be like a magic number where you say that, okay, I'm at this point until I'm ready for relationships, because I've also seen people who are supposedly matured in age, or I mean grown, but they think like kids, okay, when it comes to relationships. So it would be unfair to go with a number. I think it would be more of, if you get to a point where you think that, okay, I have met someone who is worth leaving everything for and pursuing, then yeah, you could give it a shot. If you go and it doesn't work, you come home, come and do your homework, and then continue. Because I mean, not all of such relationships will work as well. I mean, that's the reality. So yeah, I really think that it is more, and I'm trying to shy away from saying that, oh, when you are mature, because that's also very relative. I mean, how do you know you are mature? You wouldn't know. In fact, even when you are in a relationship or you are in marriage, there are things that you need to mature on the fly to handle. It's not like you got matured and got into it. You as and when the events happen, the situations happen, you should immediately develop maturity to handle it. So I would say that if someone comes across that looks like, okay, this is worth going for, yeah, give it a shot. And I want to say this because growing up, I thought that a lot of boys, I mean, friends that I grew up with, I thought that there was a skewed perception about who to go in for, right? And let me spend a minute or two talking about that. So, for some reason, and I don't know where this comes from, that when you're trying to get attracted to someone or get married to someone or get into a relationship with someone, you should go in for someone with big hips or big breasts or big, I really or go in for someone with a certain shape, body shape, and all. I think, and maybe God was so good to me, but right from the onset, when I was growing up, I thought he was playing stupid. Sorry for being so blunt, but I thought I thought it was so childish to have, and I was a child then, right? But I thought it was so childish to have those be the drivers of the person you're going to marry, right? So instead of going to with someone with, let me call it big brains, you're looking for big breast or big butts or something. How will that help you in the journey? I mean, I guess it will help with the sensual part when it makes you attracted to your spouse and all, but there is more to that, right? So let me break that and then read this. Sammy says, I was bounced 3 times from my crush at age 8. Oh, so that's awesome. So I mean, at age 8, Sammy had the courage to actually speak to the crush. So I get shy asking someone out just because of the bouncing. Yeah, and and that was sorry, that was one of my fears, right? I didn't want to really go and then I'll be told no because hey, I have my big ego to protect, right? Yeah, so yeah, so coming back to that, I thought I thought there should be more than that, and I think this perception has festered for a very long time, and that is why we have a lot of ladies now trying to match those things so that they'll become appealing to people. You get what I mean? I don't know who brought that up. Who was the maybe it was Adam. I don't know, but to think that to marry someone or to be attracted to someone, you should have like go for someone. Hey, like when people say hey, like these people have and I've always wondered how it works. Like boys will be gathered somewhere, they see someone who is endowed and go like, hey, like what? Like what is the it's so difficult for me to understand. Okay, what is the E about? What about, right? But unfortunately, it looks like yeah, that's the norm and everything. And again, I am not saying that you should go in for someone you are not attracted to. No, 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 no. That's far from what I'm saying, right? Because if you are married and your spouse angers you, sometimes you look at your spouse and how beautiful he or she is, and then you can say, okay, I forgive you for just how beautiful you are. But if if your whole reason for going in for someone is just because of how the person looks outwardly, then I think the first filter you are using is pretty wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good advice there. Yeah, because I think of late this Slay Queen thing and all that. And it's like those are now the mentors around for our young kids.
Yeah.
Those are the people they see on social media and on telly.
Yeah. Is that
And
not the reason why people
yeah,
spend money to enhance
to
their?
go and do enhancement, bleaching, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I mean, people have different reasons. I mean, I'm not the standard, right? People have different reasons for doing that. But in my brain, if I even know someone has gone to enhance her body, my brain will not allow me to even have any sort of attraction to the person. I don't know how it works, right? But I know that, oh, that's an artificial, like a hybrid human going there, part natural, part artificial. It will just not click with my brain. Yeah.
But I think there are people who just like so
Yeah.
when it comes
Yeah.
to even make up and all that, there are
Yeah.
some men
Yeah.
who want their partners well made up and all that.
Exactly.
They have issues if and even for certain cultures,
Yeah.
if you don't make up, they get angry that you don't know how to dress and all that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about a social or a cultural thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different preferences and what people like. For example, for me, if I see, let me not get, but I just don't like. I like things to be as natural as they have to be, right? So there a lot of things when I see, I can easily run and go and hide, right? Like I see someone, yeah. But again, individual preferences and all.
Yeah.
But the main point I want to make is I think society has a certain mold, right?
Yeah.
That everyone tries to fit in. So why would young girls be wearing stuff to expose themselves, or why would they be? It's because there is an object of interest. They have to be appealing to someone. They have to look great to someone, right? So
But
it
surprisingly, when you ask a lady
mm,
about what you think is beauty, they have a different perspective. And then when you ask a man, it's also different. Maybe a lady will say, oh, you should look this way and that way. And then you ask a man that, what do you think is beauty? And they're also thinking of, most of the time when you interview both, the
okay.
artificial or natural. You see, most men want natural. But then most women
Really?
also think that when they enhance themselves, that's what the men want. So
Maybe
sometimes not,
there are also men who want the artificial one. I mean, I wouldn't downplay that at all. There are people. I mean, we are different people. We are different humans. We have different preferences. So I know there are men who would like people their spouses to have artificial whatever. But hey, yeah, I can't wrap my mind around. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things, right?
okay. So I want to ask you what advice you have for any youth or anyone who is below 18 thinking of about entering into a relationship. Any guy who is thinking about asking a girl out or something. Do you have any advice for such a person? Maybe you are the role model because you started
Maybe
having
I'm
crush early.
maybe I'm
Maybe you
the
started having the crash early,
may-
so they also want to.
no, people. I'm very with what Sami said. I'm sure a lot of people have crashes
Okay,
pretty
no, but they
early.
probably have somebody that they are targeting.
Yeah, so I would say, and this is it. When you get into a relationship, right? There should be an end goal. This is my way of approaching it, right? So, like for example, um, at that age, I was thinking marriage. I wasn't. I was being. in a relationship like a boyfriend and a girlfriend was just a transition to the main thing, right? I mean, a time to know the person better, know that you're making the right choice. But as at the time we're entering into a relationship, we already had a time in mind where we're looking to get married, right? So this is what I would say: go into a relationship with a plan. So it's not like, okay, hey, your friends are going out, you also need to go out, like during vacations you need to also look cool and have someone you roll with, right? No, I think that it should be going out there with the end game in mind. So all through our relationship, it was more of working towards the marriage phase of it, right? So yeah, it doesn't also mean that when you get into a relationship with someone, you should
Marry them.
compulsively marry the person.
The person.
It's a phase for you guys to figure out if it will work with each other, right? So that should be the mindset. And it shouldn't just be that, oh, you just changing out girls here and there or boys here and there. You just want to explore, blah blah blah. That's what I think. And so if you're looking to get into a relationship, it should be a relationship with a purpose, right? There should be the end game in mind. You should, like, you just don't sit in your car, move out of your garage, and just drive around doing nothing. 99% of the time, you know where you are going, you know where you want to head to. Yeah, so that is what my advice would be. Maybe next week we'll delve more into that. But yeah, for now, that's what the advice would be.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like we've already run out of
Yeah,
time.
because of that time.
Yeah, time seems so short. Yeah, so hey guys, we'll continue this discussion again on next week's episode of Dear Man. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your company, and it's bye for now. Always remember that no two relationships are the same. Cheers.